Alrighty, so here I am, sitting across the table from my dad. It's taken me, 35 years and a few months to get to a point where, I wanted to have this conversation, and I don't really have any expectations about how it's going to go, but part of the catalyst for me starting this podcast was looking at my kids and seeing them and looking at some of the things that they do, and me wondering to myself, how much of what they do is something that they're picking up from their environment, and how much of who they are as a person has come from myself and Angela, and likewise, how much of me has come from my parents. So I'm sitting here with my dad. So Dad, introduce yourself.
Our name, yes, Johnny is just giving me this opportunity to have a chat about our family. Yeah, obviously this is going to inspire me and a bit nostalgia to think about the past, being left the country originally from Singapore for such a long time. So it's going to talk a bit slowly. Okay, so
Dad, you got to introduce yourself. So what's your name?
Yes, it's okay. Surname is Yap, Y-A-P. It's Chinese words. It's actually called Leaf, L-E-A-F. Ancestors, my mom, Dad came from mainland China, Fujian province, a place called Tong'an-Xian.
So whereabouts is that? So that would be on the southeast coast?
No, it's the south coast of China.
Coast of China.
Yeah, Fujian is one of the top 3 provinces from the south, where a lot of pioneers or migrants, they came to Southeast Asia countries, especially Malaysia, Singapore, used to call Malaya Peninsula, this north of Singapore Island, and then.
So grandfather grew up in this place, Tong'an-Xian.
Tong'an-Xian.
And then what about grandma?
Grandma was actually born in Singapore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, just when I was young, didn't know much. My dad didn't sort of mention much about his background. He's actually a primary school teacher.
Yep. So he grew up in China.
Yes.
Do you know? Did you ever find out what age he went to Singapore?
Oh, I think he came quite early, but during the wartime against Japanese, just before Japanese, he's also been back to China for military training. Okay.
So he served in the Chinese military.
Yes, it's actually considered that time. The main political party is called Kuomintang. It's called Nationalist. Okay, Nationalist is actually led by Chiang Kai-shek. He actually in 1949 has fled to Taiwan because Chiang Kai-shek lost the battle, internal war to Mao Zedong. Mao Zedong. That's how in 1949. It's got to bring a lot of party members to Taiwan.
Yeah.
And that's how, until today, Taiwan's actually mainland China proclaimed still part of the Chinese territory.
Let's not get into politics.
Yeah,
because
okay. All right. I'll just background to my dad now. Okay, my dad actually was told he did the military, and then my mom did mention during wartime he's been back and forward to China a few times. From the documentary evidence, things passed on. Actually found out he actually was a scout member in Vietnam as well. Okay. So because the French government, the ID was in French. So, and that time, back to Tong'an, we actually have a very well-known Chinese pioneer known as Chen Jiagen. He's actually came to Singapore at the age of 16. So he was a very good businessman. In fact, during the wartime against Japanese, he has done a lot of fundraising. Okay, so this Chen Jiagen is what they call. He has donated a lot of money towards education, because in order for a country, the people to be strong, they need to have good education. So Chen Jiagen actually has led a lot of fundraising activities. And he was actually donated money towards Xiamen Daxue in China, Fujian. Okay, so my dad used to say he came from the same village, Tong'an Xian is the call, and then it's called Jimei Chun. And Jimei is actually a little village, but there's a lot of good schools there. Jimei Chun. Okay, so and that's how this Tan Kah Kee. Okay, back to father. He actually Tan Kah Kee has formed a group to bring based in Singapore, because that time east side of China has already been occupied by Japanese.
Yep.
So in order to deliver daily necessities, ordinance, all this type of thing, they have to start from Singapore.
So was he trying to get out of the war, or he went to Singapore?
No, they need to
in terms of
reservists.
Yep.
They need to use lorries, okay, to load up all the necessity.
Yeah, like a truck, right?
Like a truck, yeah. Start from Singapore and then along Malay Peninsula, and then through Thailand, and then through Burma, and then go east to reach Kunming.
Yep.
So that's how he was involved, and this sort of military action. He's called Nanyang Ji Gong Dui. Apparently, it's about 3,600 people, and they mainly are Asians or Chinese from all the Southeast Asian countries.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then then you were born in Singapore?
Yes, actually, I was born in Singapore during the time still under British. It's part of the British colony. It's called Commonwealth.
Yep.
So it's well before the self-regulated state, and that was before Lee Kuan Yew came in. Lee Kuan Yew was elected as our prime minister in 1959.
So, okay, let's go back a step. So, when you were growing up in Singapore, how would you describe it? Like, what's your earliest memories of what Singapore was like? Because I think a lot of people would have visited Singapore, in the present world, and it's bustling. It's an economic hub. It's a very metropolitan city. What was it like when you were growing up?
Okay, it's still very considered like a village type. That was teaching at one primary school. It's called in Red Hill, and the school is actually on the little hilltop.
Yep.
And the road, I remember going with him sometime to the school, especially you can see pigs scattered around.
Pigs.
Pigs.
Okay. What, like farming?
Farming, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And then used to catch a public bus reach there, and if it's after the rain, slippery and very muddy. Okay.
So the road wasn't the roads weren't what they are now.
No. Yeah. And then still very rural.
Yeah.
One incident still in my mind. One particular incident was I have a tummy ache, so I need to rush to the so-called toilet, right? Which actually is septic tank.
Yep.
Okay, so I just squat down and do my duty. But then I heard a squeaky noise. Then I looked down. The pig is having
Having an extra meal.
extra meal. Oh gosh, I dash out, holding my pen, and they all laugh at me. That's my, early collection.
So then, were you living in an apartment or was it a house?
Okay, so I'll just tell you the street I grew up. It's actually a commercial street, known as Choon Guan Street, CHOONGUAN. It's named after one well-known Singaporean pioneer called Lee Choon Guan. Okay, so this Choon Guan Street actually is, a lot of people are from Tong An, so I suppose it's the whole clan are there. So we live at number 10 Choon Guan Street. It's actually a 3-story type of terrace house. Okay.
Yep.
So, and we just, I remember uncle, aunties live upstairs. We actually at second level. Downstairs actually a printing shop, exercise printing shop, led by one Teochew person called Chua Kai Teo, Cai Kai Cao, 制布厂. Okay.
So the bottom was like a printing
right.
shop.
Yeah.
The second story was where you were.
Yeah. And then
the top story, who was living there?
Now, top story is just like we have various tenants.
Okay.
Yes,
So it's just other like neighbors basically.
Yeah. So it's actually, I recall there was a drama in Hong Kong. They call 72 房客, 72家房客. So that is how the house is a 3-story, but as I said, downstairs is mainly commercial.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that was the style back then, right? Like a lot of the places would have had a shop or retail type of facility downstairs, and then people would live above the shop or.
That's right. Yeah. Because the whole street. Okay, I recall. And across the road, you would have a grocery store. You would have coffee shops.
Yep.
And then also quite a number of printing shops. As I said, the whole street looks like it's famous for printing stationery,
So it was
exercise books, books, all kind of things.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Okay. And then, so from on grandfather's side, did he have any siblings that you know of?
Yes.
So your father's side, I should say.
But yeah, my grandpa's side, father's side, supposed to have 2 other brothers. Yep. That's what my father is actually eldest of the 3 brothers.
Okay.
And the second uncle that I know of is also a school teacher.
Yep.
And third one, he's very big size. He used to be a bodyguard of quite a number of different politicians.
Okay.
And then I remember he used to ride a big, powerful motorbike.
So they also were in Singapore as well?
Yes.
Yep.
But then that is how memory collection is about that side. All right.
And then what about on grandma's side, so mum's side?
Mum's side, yeah. Grandmom, okay. Grandmom's side, my mom actually, as I said, born in Singapore. And her mom, that's my pawpaw, white paw.
Yep.
Actually came from China. 名字叫做孙福良. I still remember her name, surname Shang Sun. She's actually a devoted Buddhist at home. Okay, so and she lived with my auntie, just in a place called Jamie Lane near China Street.
Okay. In Singapore.
Just 10 minutes walk from my place.
Yep.
So that's how I used to go there and stay there sometime. And my grandma, as I say, she start being a devoted vegetarian since the age of 30. So on that side, I remember they also live in the terrace house, but it's at level, the third story, the top story.
Yep.
So, and I remember sometimes I stay there, but overnight, and she used to wake up 5 o'clock in the morning and have to put on some garment, black robe, I think, and then start like the incense, and then
Prayers.
she would just start chanting, playing. Yes, so that is every day, 365 days, non-stop. All right, so that is how, and
What you can remember from that.
that's right. Yeah.
And so then, so schooling wise, where did you go?
Schooling wise, actually, I what we call I attended a Catholic school.
Yep.
It's called Catholic High School, but they do have a primary school section from primary 1 to primary 6, and then it's got year 7 to year 10, and then pre-U 1 and 2, pre-U 2, pre-university,
Yep.
called HSC. The school is actually at Queen Street off Bras Basah Road. That I need to catch a bus there. Normally it's about 15 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah. The school is, as mentioned, is run by priests. It's a Catholic school.
Yep.
So Chinese medium, 公教中学, but it's very well known for its English language standard.
So
we're bilingual.
was the instruction in English?
No, obviously we're Chinese medium, but
Yep.
Books, that time we have to learn Chinese, still the main mother language,
Yep.
母语, 华文. But we still got to learn English, and then even Malay language. So in Singapore, there's 4 official languages. Okay, so Chinese, English, Malay, and Tamil. Tamil is actually a lot of South Indians.
Yep.
So, but our official, or what they call national language, is actually Malay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then, so I guess you had exposure to English from quite a young age.
Yes. Okay. This is, but I still recall I did study 2 years kindergarten near my Zhongwan Street, and this 幼稚园 is called 新洲幼稚园.
So that's like a daycare or preschool.
Yeah, it's actually preschool, 2 years.
Yep.
But these 2 years is the Methodist 基督教徒学校, but they didn't teach English.
Okay.
I really had a hard time
Yep.
catching up English.
Yep.
So, and that's how during school day time, I always been what they call punished by the English teacher to stand outside the classroom because I didn't study well, especially homework.
It's hard, you know. You're trying to you're getting taught multiple different languages.
Yes, and
You
then
know, and you wouldn't have really, like, out of all that schooling, how would you rate your English as a result of that schooling versus what it is today? Like, do you think that your English improved more dramatically when you migrated, or do you think that the standard of English that you developed from schooling is the same as, you know, like it carried you through, or?
No, our English language standard is very, 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 very top among all the Chinese medium school. In actual fact, I remember most of the classmates, they come from quite affluent school, affluent backgrounds.
Yeah.
And they do have tutors.
So they have English tutors.
That's correct.
Yep.
And you know, so they're all better than mine.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. But like what I'm trying to say is that, you know, when when you migrated, and I know I'm jumping ahead a bit, and we'll come back to this, but you know, when you were then in an English-speaking country, do you still feel like do you feel like your English was okay, or do you feel like there was still a lot of improvement to be made, having now living in an English-speaking country?
Obviously, been such a long time, but at that time, our school principal, Brother Joseph Dufries, that's a French name.
Yep.
It's actually what they call he's a 修士 priest.
Priest, yeah.
Yeah, and then he's devoted his whole life into education, so he knows every student by name. So I was quite lucky. The school system there is actually very competitive. I remember start from the class of about 40 to 45 students. By the time I finished, probably half left. The other half have gone to other schools, and then we still got to keep up the standard. We adopt what they call top students from other schools will come and join us.
Yeah.
Right. But I consider myself lucky. I still consider a true blue blood student from year 1 to year 12.
Survived. You made the cut.
Fail. Yes, that's correct. So now I'm not in the top. Oh, I actually came number 1 when I was in primary 6. I still recall my mom awarded me with a typewriter. So at the age of that time, 13 years old, I start to learn how to type.
Yeah.
So this is how. Yeah. Back to mom. Mom's actually a seamstress. Okay.
Yeah.
She's skilled who to make dresses.
Okay.
In fact, she has worked in those famous good old days. There's a seamstress at the tailor shop, mainly run or owned by Shanghainese or Wenzhou Ren.
Yeah.
So I remember this is in Coleman Street. And the famous singer, or those celebrities used to come and make cheongsam or evening formal wear from mom's shop. Mom is a worker there. Okay. So that's how sometimes I go there, see some nice dresses.
Yeah. So then when you went through, so then obviously you studied at the same place from year 1 to year 12. Then what did you do after that? So was it national service then, or was it then to like a polytechnic or university or?
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. So sorry, I just need to touch on some background while during a school time, because my family not that well off. So at the age of when I enter school, I already learned how to sell some mapiupo. Mapiupo is a weekend race horse. We have horse racing days during weekends. And then in Singapore, there's a popular system called 4 digits. It's just like our lotto.
Yep.
But you can bend back on 4 different digits.
So how does that work?
And that is how this government, they have totalizator, agency. You just go and buy the thing, and then depends on how they draw the number. Okay, so I remember used to follow another cousin. The newspaper was published just from the three shops down the street.
Yeah.
And we used to grab the paper, and my elder cousin who lives upstairs on his bike, and then we will grab the paper and rush right down the street and just go and sell the paper. This is during weekend.
Yep.
During weekdays, that time I have what we call a school student magazine, and also Reader's Digest. Right? So this actually happened in when I start in my secondary school. I used to go and get the digest and from Race Course, Reader's Digest distributor. That's how I have a chance to
When you're selling them.
selling them during my recess time.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is how I.
So were
have
you stealing them from the race courses, or what were you doing?
No. I'm selling the news Reader's Digest.
Okay.
Yeah, and then some. I used to bring back some good fashion magazine
Yep.
to my mom.
Yep.
Mom always look at that. Oh, it's just a repeat. I remember the fashion is always
It's a cycle.
recycle.
Yeah.
The only different mom says is the clothing material
Yeah.
has improved. Yeah, so this is how I make some pocket money.
Yep.
Okay,
So then,
and then back to in 19. Okay, HSC. Johnny just want to ask us about National Day.
national service.
National
So
Service.
was that after high school? or-
No. Okay. The system is like this. Okay. We have secondary 4 examination. It's what we call O-level Cambridge. So it's Chinese streamed. So we have to pass that in order to get into pre-U1 or HSC year 1.
Yeah. Okay. So that's like our equivalent of our year 10 exams in Australia.
That's
and then,
correct. Yeah.
and it would be like the school certificate, and then you go through that to go to your
Yes,
high school certificate.
And the trend in our school is always to also go and try hard on the Cambridge English standard O-level when we are in year 11.
Yep.
All right. So in order to do your O-level Cambridge exam, you need to pass what we call a qualifying test, QT. We used to call that grade 8, number 8 standard.
Yep.
So I managed to achieve that when I was at Sec 4 or year 10. So I have a chance to sit for Cambridge School Cert.
Yep.
All subjects except English language because it's very hard, and then have to study English literature. So that time, in order to study hard, I actually also enrolled as a night school
Yep.
student to join the adult education. They used to call Lambaga, the Malay word.
Okay.
And then this is happened to be at one school called Gan Eng Seng, near my home, near Chung Wan Street. Okay.
Yep.
So that's
So was this was for adults, was it, or
this adult, this mix with other adult.
so it'll be like a TAFE style learning.
That's
Yep.
correct.
Yep.
That's
Okay.
correct. Yeah, and then I still record those Shakespeare, Othello. This is the plus, actually exhausted. So as I say, English course subjects pass the health science, many things, except cannot pass the English language subject by itself. Okay. All right, back to national service. I remember this was introduced while I was having HSC. So, and I've been called up for national service, and the training also is happened to be at night at the Gan Eng Seng School. All right, so that means I was sent to be police constable with the radio division at Pearl Harbor. So, so used to, because of my voice, and actually I'm not that tall, but she's been, been nominated as a right marker to in charge of a small batch of 40 PC as well. So I used to give command, but this all in Malay. Okay. Quite interesting. As I say, left marker is always the tallest at the front.
So this is while you're doing your NS?
Doing my
National
NS,
Service.
National Service.
Yep.
Okay.
So in Singapore, just so people can understand, in Singapore, it's
Yeah.
a mandatory conscription system.
Yeah, at that time, the mandatory actually was 3 years full time.
Yep.
So by the time, yes. So this is how I did couple of years actually in the police type of training, and then also on duty, radio division. Yeah. Okay. Right. So that is quite a busy life.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you finish high school and then you went to national service then, or?
Yes. Okay. I actually during high school when I finished.
Yep.
Was a transition period. Have to decide what to do, whether it's continue study. And then I actually follow a cousin, say, to go into university.
Okay.
So actually,
So you went to study first.
I went to study.
Yeah.
Went to study. And while part-time national service still continue while you're at university.
So then, what did you study at university?
Actually, I did the economics degree course.
Okay.
Yeah. So prior to that, actually quite interesting. During the summer vacation, I recall after year 12 and university, not starting the term until February or March. Yeah, I did go and work as a construction worker. Yes, because a classmate of us, the father has an architect firm, so they actually also undertake to build a Jurong power station. Power station, yeah. So me and two other classmates sort of asked for the job. So every morning we have to go and wait for the lorry at somewhere called near People's Park Complex at North Bridge Road.
Yep.
Or South Bridge Road, I couldn't remember.
Yep.
Malu, okay. And then they would just bring us to the power station work site. Yes, I recall the time. Very tough job. Yeah, and the daily pay is $4 Sing dollar. Yes, okay. I did that kind of really hard physical labor job. Other than that, actually, I also work as a salesperson with one departmental store called Metro. This is actually a listed company now. They are very good, very big, called Metro departmental store. They also have owned by Indonesian Chinese before. So it just sort of got to look after own self, because the time mom and dad say they already finished giving me education, so I have to survive on my own.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's
So then, when did you? So because you moved from Singapore and went to Taiwan to study?
No? Actually, okay. Back to cut. Did 3 years study for the economics, Bachelor of Commerce, major in economics degree at Nanyang University. And I supposed to go to what we call a full-time national service after that. But as I have problem with my right eye, I was born with a squint, called little lazy eyes.
Yeah, well, I've got that too, so thanks.
Yeah, you probably it's a congenital.
Mine's on the left.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know. This is why, according to mom, when I was born, actually, eyesight was perfect, and then it's only I contracted German measles. So, and then one day my mom was carrying me, and then her friend looked at my eyes, and they start yelling, and they say, "Look, what's wrong with your son's eyes?" Then my mom just noticed that. I think it's caused by something
The virus or something.
virus.
Yeah, well,
Yes,
mine's different. Mine's not like I don't have a squint, but I have what they call a lazy eye.
lazy eye.
And I think
something could be. And then
something
they
to do with when like, so the correct method to treat it when I was younger was supposed to be to wear an eye patch.
Yes.
But instead they gave me glasses to try and correct it. But yeah, apparently that's not actually the right way to do it. When you're
Yes,
younger, if you got a lazy eye, you're supposed to force the brain to use the other eye. So patch my right eye, so I'm forced to use my left eye, and then that may have rectified it. But
Yes.
it doesn't matter. Like, the right eye is pretty
So
close
you're
to
right
perfect.
now?
So it is what it is. Like, I don't,
see.
I had glasses during school, but I didn't really use them, and I guess obviously never eye patched the right eye, so I didn't really develop the left eye. But like, it's I can still see out of it. So, but if it came down to reading things, like I can't read what the book says, and that's probably like 2 feet in front of me. Whereas my right eye, I can see it very clearly. It says the 14th global, blah 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 blah.
Oh, okay.
So, so it's just
so
it is one of
so
those things.
unfortunately, I think seems this is congenital. It's passed on to you.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep.
Anyway,
Yep. Okay. Yeah. Keep going.
so and then I remember I never wear glasses throughout my study. It's only until I actually always find headache, split headache.
Yep.
I thought it's like similar like migraine, or
Yep.
something like that.
Yep.
But once I have a good rest, then overcome it. So
Yeah. Then it was okay.
yeah.
Okay.
That's how one need to do full-time national service. Then the medical officer at Nanyang University did the examination of my eyes,
Yep.
and he has made comment that I shouldn't join the full-time national service because eyesight no good. I'm right-handed. When I come to rifle shooting
Yep.
during the national service training time,
Yep.
I have to use left hand, and quite a good shooter. I think I scored quite a high marks.
So that's
So
that's because of the eye, right?
Because of the eyes, I have to use left hand. But as I mentioned, I'm right-handed. I'm not supposed to use left hand to handle the rifle.
So okay, let me just ask this, because I was naturally left-handed.
That's right.
Growing up. So who is there anyone in the family on your side that is left-handed?
Yes, not my side. It's my mom's side.
Yep.
There's my cousin, a few years older than me, I think. Lim Meng Sit. He's a national table tennis player. So he's right hand to right. Use right hand to right,
Yep.
but left hand to play table tennis. Yes.
Yep.
So
Okay. Fair enough.
So
Okay, so that's where that comes from.
yes.
Okay. And then so you after you finished national service, then you finished university? So because you were saying, this is the part where I'm a bit confused. Were you doing a part-time national service and university at the same time?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
So I didn't actually go to full-time national service.
Yep.
And then most of the classmates, schoolmates, all gone into
Full-time.
military full-time.
Yep.
So and I have to go look for a job.
Yep.
Okay. So I actually has found a public service job.
Yep.
Okay. So actually I did what we call only as a admin officer
Yep.
of the Inland Revenue Department. It's
Okay.
called, because under British system.
So it was still a government. It was a government.
Government servant, yes. And then that time I have a friend, not friend, I mean someone from New Zealand has returned to my parents or talk with my parents, say, because Nanyang University is a Chinese medium university,
Yep.
no doubt it's recognized, the degree is recognized Singapore government,
Yep.
but not my Malaysia. So, and then that time, I have an uncle, he's a public accountant, Mr. Lim,
Yep.
my third uncle. And he's the one keeps saying to encourage me to go further study. But he says it's best if you can persuade your professional studies in accountancy.
Yeah.
He's want someone from our family to become an accountant.
Okay.
So that's how that time I understand I haven't got scholarship.
Yep.
So a friend, brother in New Zealand sort of told us that opportunity in New Zealand, you can come and work, study and work at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah. So and that time, my cousin, quite a number of them already left to UK,
Yep.
Canada. So and then I think since the option is in New Zealand, looks like I can study and work at the same time.
Yep.
My dad actually was retired already.
Yep.
So this is how I decided to go. And then mom also encouraged me to go.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to have my own expense. It's just like live and dead lie. All right? So I have to make a strong determination because I cannot ask for any
Assistance.
more assistance financially.
Yep.
Yeah, but that time was quite. In order to do that, I still need to show financial support. So I actually talked with my elder cousin that my second uncle has a business
Yep.
he's in business, and then is be able to provide letter from the bank to say I have adequate funds to do my study there.
Yep.
So I talked elder cousin to talk with my uncle. My uncle did say to me, "Look, you've done your education, you have a job, right? You shouldn't, and your parents are retiring. You shouldn't go abroad, all right?" And he insists he will not support me. It's just a paper wise. He will comply with the formality to give me the letter from the bank,
Yep.
but insist strongly that if you don't succeed in your study, don't come back. I don't have money to sponsor your return trip.
Okay.
All right, so this is the point of no return,
Yep.
and that's how mom has decided to let me go. So, and that's it.
So where did you go?
I went to New Zealand.
Oh, so okay. See, I was under this impression that you and Mum met in Taiwan or something. So okay, this is different. Okay, so you ended up in New Zealand.
Yeah, and I'm in New Zealand. Okay, so I still remember the day upon arrival, I have a job working at the local pub. Okay, it's quite easy, and then start with couple of nights, but then weekends always got to work.
So so when you first went to New Zealand, were you studying or were you?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so you went to study.
Yeah, actually, when I first, I still thinking of, because my favorite subject is actually economics.
Yep. and which city in New Zealand? was this?
I went to Auckland.
Auckland.
Okay.
And what year would this have been?
1974. Actually. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
And then so describe this to me. So on the plane, did you take a plane? Or how did you get to New Zealand?
yes, obviously. Yes.
Well, I don't know. You could have gone by boat.
Yeah, well, the time was quite expensive.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So on the plane, who else was on the plane heading over there? Was it?
Remember? All right.
Would you say it was guys like you? So like Singaporean guys. Asian people, or was
Asian? No.
New
Actually, I
Zealanders?
just recall
like
that time I have one senior. There's a school. My senior, couple of years older than me.
Yeah.
He's quite well known actually in Singapore. Dr. Yo Sim Huat. He's a psychiatrist. Okay.
Yep.
He's actually did go to New Zealand, Auckland. I don't know, through some connection, I managed to find him. Yes, and then also a couple of other students.
so they were on the same.
Oh yeah. No, not on the same plan.
Okay.
No, not on the same plan. I mean, there are some students already.
There.
Okay.
That
In,
you- that you
in
met.
Singapore, at the time they have what we call the Colombo Plan Scholarship.
Okay.
Just under Commonwealth system. Yes. So I remember some people I know before have already landed in New Zealand, Auckland. Yeah.
Yeah. So there was some familiar, like not, well, I guess some people that you could find.
Yes. My friend's brother, Roland Tan, he's actually is based in Dunedin. It's Otago University, which is down south.
Yep.
As I say, my destination was Auckland University.
So okay. So then, okay? Can you describe to me what was Auckland like back in 1974 then? So like when you first got there, what was your first impressions?
Well, it's very quiet.
Cold. It's not like Singapore.
Cold. That time normally it's about February, so it wasn't that bad. I think it's considered just summertime. So you find that it's a quiet country.
Yep.
A lot. Albert Park, the university venue is actually right in the city.
Yep.
So and then you can go to a place called Albert Park.
Yep.
It's got beautiful flowers, roses, and impression of the buildings is very Gothic style building, like church. In fact, it's very ancient, very old. Okay.
Okay.
So I still remember I was put up in a student hostel, known as International House.
So it's like a boarding house, basically.
Full boarding hostel is run by universities,
so like
university accommodation.
Yep.
Yeah, and I still remember it's called Whittaker Place.
Whittaker Place.
Yeah, which is normally about 10 to 15 minutes walk from the university lecture place.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Did you?
Weather is cold, yes. So.
And I guess did you ever experience? Was there any racism in back then?
All right. No. The time is quite. Students, mainly, obviously, they have.
Well, this is
They
the
do
trap for
also-
students, right? Like when a lot of overseas students, they come to a different country and they just associate with their other friends that are from
Oh yeah,
overseas.
there's a lot. There's
so they
a
fail
lot
to
of
really immerse.
Kiwi friends, and they're actually not necessarily from local. They might from other places called country area.
Yep.
Right, and then you met local Chinese as well. We call New Zealand-born Chinese.
Yep.
And then because university, this hostel do have students from other Commonwealth countries.
Yep.
And they're on scholarship. I still I consider I have some Singaporean students as well. They're on Colombo plan. Yes, so quite a mixture.
Okay.
And then through conversation, obviously the Kiwi slang. Even though you study English language all the time,
Yeah, they've got a different accent
that
too.
different accent, and then plus it take a while. I think I remember first 3 months I couldn't take any notes.
Yep.
All right,
You couldn't understand.
couldn't understand even the slang.
Yep.
And quite interesting actually. While I was doing a law subject, an elderly lady sat right next to me. And after a while, I couldn't find her. And one night, while I was working at one hotel called Albion Hotel at Albion Street. And then I saw my manager sitting with some lady guest. And this lady looked at me. Oh, say, oh, I know you. I was doing my law subject with you
Okay.
at the same time. I say, oh, interesting. So she asked for my hostel, phone number, this and that.
Yep.
And then, in actual fact, she said, one day I'll ask you to bring some other student, and then I come and fetch you to come to my place for afternoon tea.
Okay.
Yes. So this lady, interesting, she did call me, and then asked for a couple of other students from the same hostel, and then plus that time I already met your mom.
Okay. So you guys met at
University.
She's studying at
She
university.
came a year after me. Okay,
Okay.
I was okay. So when sitting in Maurice 1100 or something in the car, I was sat next to the lady.
So the lady
At the motorway.
Yep.
And she was driving very fast. I look at her way of driving, and then it doesn't match her age. So later on, upon arrival at her home at Howick Bay,
Yeah.
and she did say that, I said, why do you drive so fast? She said, during wartime, she was an ambulance officer. That's how, and then she said even in motorway, she was caught twice over speeding.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when I look at her, she introduced herself. She said, oh, you know about the Prime Minister of New Zealand, one called Sir Walter Nash. I said, no, I don't know much about the history. Yeah.
Yeah.
She said her husband is the brother of Prime Minister
Oh, okay.
Sir Walter Nash. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, I say, oh, interesting. And the lady is very independent. She
Yep.
did mention she has one son named David, but he lives at Perth
Okay.
doing his own business.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and then the lady actually did say her age, and then she, due to ill health, didn't come back to do her study. Yeah.
Yeah.
Since then, I still remember. And it's only wait till quite few years later when I went to New Zealand Parliament.
Yeah.
Then I noticed all the portrait of
You can
past
see them.
PMs. Yes, and she actually was a Labour Party Prime Minister back in 1950. Something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right. So then, where did you meet?
Okay.
Where did you meet Mum? Like, so how did
Now,
that
as I say, how I met. Okay, I mean, school time, I say, apart from study, working,
Yeah.
I also quite involved with the overseas students' activities. So during, next year, 75, I was also, in this what do you call, there's overseas student welcome type of committee, help students to do enrollment.
Yeah.
So I was at the help desk at Auckland University.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how I met her.
Okay.
So yeah, this is how.
So then, this, you
This,
got a photo.
yeah, I got a
Where's this
photo.
photo? Where was this
That
photo?
one is actually the Auckland. Whether this place at Domain. Domain is where the museum.
Yeah.
That's in front, and you can see that's taken during the winter time.
Yeah, it's cold.
Cold, yes. So
Okay.
a bit breezy.
Yep.
Right. So
So then, So then, how long did you guys date for before deciding on?
well,
Getting
being a
married.
student,
Yeah.
I also met in 1975.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then I have been quite a number of jobs.
Yep.
And also help her to do some study, and that's how we always spend time at library, this and that.
Yep.
I don't know how, and then in 70.
Well, that's 75. So that's
1 year,
Yeah,
only
1
1 year, and then we. I don't know where I got the guts, and then propose, and then get married.
Yep.
All right. So your elder brother Donnie was born.
So is that Donnie? That picture?
Yes,
Of Donnie?
Donnie in 77. That's a picture I managed to find.
It's funny. I'm looking at this picture of Donnie,
Yeah.
and it's Donnie crying on your chest.
Yes,
And
yes. Then it's
Funnily
comfort
enough,
him.
that looks very similar to Harley in that picture.
All right. Yes, yeah. This is how you see. I got very good long hair that time. Yes. So, yeah, this is how, and then this is how. What do you have that you want to do?
Yeah.
All right, and then as I say, I always keep busy working. I used to have 3 jobs at one time.
Yep. So then, okay.
And
So then,
I finished accounting. I work at the newspapers.
Yep.
And then also get a job at the race course during race days,
Yep.
at weekends.
Yep.
I even work at night at Trotter, Alice Trotter race course as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then nighttime still work at the pub.
So then, when did you guys make the decision to come to Australia? Like, what was the logic
Okay,
there? Like,
actually, that's a long story. Okay, that time I was finishing study and working, and Donnie was born 77.
mhm.
The policy was regarding immigration. It's all subject to whether you can have a job or as well or not. And then you also have to look at your own home country where you come from, Singapore.
Yeah.
So during that time, I managed to, I suppose, we kick out of the country
Huh? Okay.
because that even Donnie was born,
Yep.
but under their very strict immigration policy,
Yep.
they say they have surplus of accountants in New Zealand,
Okay.
and that's how they say then don't require my
Your skill set.
residence state what they call
Yeah, your
application.
application for permanent residency.
Yes, and this was. And then I met my what we call short. I was working in a newspaper by looking after one publication. It's known as Shortland Publication,
Mm-hmm.
and the lady manager knows my predicament. All right, say I told her, I say sorry, I think I need to leave the country.
Yeah.
And happened to the lady know they don't have portfolio like Minister for Immigration.
Mm-hmm.
It's just called Undersecretary for Immigration under Minister of Labour. So the
So this is in New Zealand, right?
New Zealand, yeah. So that lady manager sort of know because she's a business woman. She know the undersecretary in charge of this what we call immigration. So she said, leave it with me. I make a phone call and try to get me an appointment.
Yeah.
So that was quite fortunate. And I managed to get, that time I already received letter of rejection.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
And the chief accountant from my section at newspaper place were not sure, will not give any more support. They say they tried their best
Yep.
already.
Yep.
So it was 1.5 pages letter written by this undersecretary.
Yep.
Say they consider my case, even my child was born there.
Yep.
Cannot. All right. So, but during the time, I also managed to collect quite a lot of letters of application regarding opportunity of getting accountant's job in Singapore.
Yep.
At that time was quite tough. Even I managed to write to government department as well.
Yep.
Okay, so that time, this they also say oversupply of accountants in Singapore, even government department.
Yep.
Chances of me getting job as an accountant upon return to Singapore are slim.
Yep.
So by the time I still remember, I supposed to leave the country, say end of February, 28th February.
Yep.
I managed to secure appointment to see this this undersecretary.
Yep.
So and I showed him the letter, and then I also produced a stack of letters of rejection from the prospect, from the employers I apply, including government departments.
Yep.
And then he said, at first he said, look, for me to overturn, because that letter was written by him, right?
So this is the guy that wrote the letter.
Right, yes,
originally.
he said.
Rejection
Actually,
letter.
yeah, that's correct. Okay. And then he said, look, very difficult. But anyway, you have this new evidence, especially rejection from government department. This is considered fresh evidence.
Yep.
And she would like to cross-check with the source.
Yep.
It's not just say they take on face value.
Yeah.
In fact, he said, your case, just like I'm a bookkeeper, I'm in charge.
Like a refugee.
Like a refugee. It's really true, I'm a refugee, okay? He said, your case was set as a precedent.
Yep.
For me to decide, I have to consider, in order to be fair and equitable,
Yep.
he has to consider other applicants in the same boat.
Yep.
So this is how he said, okay, I'll take your thing back to my ministry, and I will get my department to further cross-check with the source.
Yep.
Especially, he said they don't trust the private sector. They want to check the public sector.
Yeah, the government,
Especially government sector.
Yep.
Yeah, I said, okay, fair enough. Then upon return to office, I told my publication manager about my outcome of my
Your case.
thing, the case.
Yep.
And she said, okay, don't worry. What you need to do every month, fix a time, make a phone call to Wellington.
Okay.
All right. This Ministry of Labour, the Immigration Undersecretary office, and make it person to person,
Yep.
collect call. Yes. Okay. Oh, gee, because making call very expensive at that time. All right.
Yeah.
So that's how I stick with, and every month, right? The 6 month, they've been receiving my call. The person did speak. I spoke with him person to person.
Yep.
Mr. R.C. Malcolm, what was his name.
Yep.
Right? And then he said, sorry, Mr. Yao, I know you're very apprehensive. You just got to bear with us. We need to go through this government protocol.
Yep.
It might take a while, okay, because your case is considered as a precedent.
Yep.
And very important for us to make the decision. It's not that easy.
Yeah.
So 6 months passed. Very last month, I still remember all this person's name. All right? And he said Bruce Jenkins. He called himself. He said, I'm the private personal secretary, assistant to Mr. R.C. Malcolm.
Yep.
He said, look, your case will be considered soon. It just happened, Mr. Malcolm, very busy. just I think he's probably sick and tired
Of you calling him.
yes,
and they're paying the
of my persistent call. Yeah, finally, 6 months up, they did grant me the PR.
PR.
Okay,
stay.
so
Yep.
that was actually towards end of 79.
Okay.
Yeah, so at that time, Donnie was nearly 2.5 years.
Yep.
Your elder brother.
Yep.
Yeah. So and then I decided to say, oh, okay, about time. I should make a move. Right? Mom also tired.
Yep.
And that's how I said, look, let's go through Sydney. how we going to go there? I think we reward ourselves. We book at that time. We heard there's a passenger ship, the third largest. I think it's called Oriana,
The cruise ship.
the cruise ship. So we decided to come through the Trans-Tasman.
Yep.
Instead of flight, we say, okay, we come by the cruise ship.
Yep.
So this is how I still remember the cruise ship, considered third largest, and then end December, end of hold on, as I say, 79, yes. Yeah, New Year's Eve, I think we depart.
Yep.
The cruise ship took about nearly 3 or 4 days, I think.
Okay, 3 or 4 days.
4th of Jan, I think, 80 arrived.
Yep.
Yeah, so, and still remember, arrival is 7 o'clock near Overseas
Passenger
Passengers Terminus opposite
Yep. In the city.
Bra House.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was still a very good memory. I still remember sun shining.
So hang on. So you packed? Was that
Yeah,
you packed up everything in New
I
Zealand?
pack up everything.
And so then,
then
when you landed here at the overseas passenger terminal, how much were you carrying? What did you have? A suitcase, two suitcases?
No, just suitcase. Yeah, because we haven't got any,
No belongings.
no belonging, nobody. We just pack in suitcase.
Yep.
Yeah, I still remember. I have a Samsonite.
Oh, that's a good brand.
Yes, good brand is given by my auntie,
Okay.
second auntie. Yeah,
Yep.
At the time, this auntie. Yeah.
So then, where did you stay? Where did you stay that first
All
night? you
right.
arrived?
So because actually, mom wasn't well.
Yep. Was that from?
And then
from the-
Donnie
from the
also,
background?
poor Donnie also got full of blister in his mouth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What, from the
Then-
cold or?
Yes, I don't know what's happened. And then I'm very stressed, and then we just booked into one hostel or little hotel at King's Cross.
Okay.
Okay. And then,
Not a very good place to pick, but
well, that's nearest. Yes, I remember that. And
Yep.
then I think probably stay might be 1 week. And then we start to look for somewhere. I think managed to find a flat
okay.
at Kingsford,
Yep.
near Uni of New South Wales. Yeah.
Okay. So in Kingsford.
Kingsford, yeah.
And-
Willie Street, yeah. Still remember.
Did you find people were different between New Zealand and Australia?
Oh, obviously here
Apart from
is
the accent. but, like,
accent.
was there any?
No. The lifestyle here is obviously more rat race. They call. Yeah, it's rush.
So it
more
was
rush.
a faster pace.
Faster pace, obviously.
Yeah. So then, when did you find work? Or how did you find work?
Okay, how did I find one? That's interesting. I mean, just respond to newspapers
Yep.
and then just.
So it's just looking for anything at that point in time.
Just at any point in time, yes.
Yep.
Just, yeah. So, and yeah, this is how I, and nothing to do. And one interesting incident one day, one afternoon, I was still walking along Sydney, George Street, and then I saw this Asian approaching me,
Yep.
and then he has got a piece of paper in his hand, and then stopped me, and then asked me to look at the piece of paper. I can smell a lot of. Looks like this man is drunk. This
Yeah,
for
alcohol.
alcohol smell. And then I look at the paper. It's handwritten. He said, "Oh, please drop this passenger at Margaret Street. Yeah, he wants to go to Seafarer's home. Seafarer's home or house.
Seafarer's home. Okay.
Yes, okay. Flying Angel.
What's that?
So anyway,
Yeah.
I'll just tell you what's happening. And then that is at Margaret Street somewhere, he say. So I look at that, I don't know the place, and then I just return him. I say, I shake my hands. I
Don't know where to
help.
go. Yeah.
And the guy is sort of a bit drunk, upset. He just throw that piece of paper and stamp on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I say, oh, I feel bad. I know English, and then better pick it up. So that time I still remember there's a Menzies Hotel,
Yep.
Margaret Street. I know where it is. So I took this guy, walk along Margaret Street. I couldn't find the venue he's after.
Yep.
So I went to this Menzies Hotel. And because he's a bit sloppy, this and
Yeah,
that,
they didn't wanna let
he
him
dare
in.
not to.
I didn't wanna go in.
Go in.
Yep.
So I approached the concierge. I said, "Look, can you help this guy?" And they actually go upstairs and call a Japanese speaking, because it's Japanese. And
Oh, okay. Yep.
And then he said, "Look, I get this Japanese chef to find out what he wants."
Yep.
Yeah. In actual fact, they find out he's actually a seaman,
Yep.
fisherman.
Okay. Exhibition.
He
Yep.
wants to find this Flying Angels place to make phone call to his hometown, to his family.
Yep.
Okay, so this Flying Angels actually is for seafarers.
Yep.
It's just somewhere nearby. It's for those seamen
Yep.
have a gathering. They can go there, make phone call. I don't know how much it charge. I don't
Yep.
know.
Yep.
Anyway, I called taxi. Taxi, I say very near. Anyway, but he still took us. I said, no, I don't know. But you better take us
Take us,
there. And pay for the
Yep.
fare. And then once go in, I wait for him outside.
Yep.
And he comes out. I say, okay, sayonara. That's the only Japanese word.
Yep.
And he said, no. He used his hand like a chopstick
Eating. Yeah.
eating sukiyaki. Sukiyaki. I'm also hungry. So I say, okay, let's go. And then I remember there's Martin Place.
Yep.
There's one Japanese restaurant.
Yep.
So I say, let's go there. So go inside.
Yep.
He wants me to sit on tatami. I say, no.
Your knees.
And then through conversation, this and that, he said, through translator
Yep.
from the waiter.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's and then he called a lot of tempura for me.
Yep.
He's eating there every day, so he keep giving
knows.
me tempura.
Yep.
And then we also get half a dozen beer.
Yep.
So by the time finish, it's about 8 something.
Yep.
And I come out and say, this time, real sayonara.
Yep.
But the guy say, no, Centauri.
Centauri?
Centauri is a whiskey name
Yep.
for Japanese
Whiskey.
whiskey, famous Centauri. I said, what, Centauri? He said, follow me. He just used his gesture, then call a taxi. Okay? In fact, just down the rocks,
Yep.
I don't know which wharf, the fishermen there. So this wharf, I saw this fishing vessel just right next to
Where?
the gate, not far.
Yep.
So he let me up the ship. I saw some of his fellow mates was all watching TV.
Yep.
Yeah, he said, wait here. Then he went to the fridge.
Yep.
Ready to grab me a bottle of Century
Whiskey.
whiskey.
Yep.
And then his mate saw me and said, at the time I did have a jacket.
Yeah.
He said, underneath.
Yeah. Gave you a bottle of whiskey. Set you on your way.
And then, half drunk, and the time got back. Mom said, quite interesting. He actually rewarded me, gave me about 2,000 yen.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So through conversation, I know he sent all his money
back.
Yeah, left him. Yeah.
So then,
This that was 1980.
so then, so after Kingsford, where did you guys move to then? So because I remember the house that I grew up in was in St Clair, but
St. Clair, okay.
Did you go anywhere else? Did you live anywhere else?
No.
before that?
The time then. No, we actually, after working a few years, then one day we went to look at the house and land package. So and then decided, met 2 other Malaysian family, and then the builder is called Nita Home, Neeta, quite well known.
Yep.
House and land package.
Yep.
At that time, in order to purchase something, you got to go quite far
Yep.
west. So
Yep.
that's how we ended. at St. Clair at the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
So then, when did you start the accounting business then?
Okay, all right. So at the time, actually, I was my first job is with Japanese electronics company at North Sydney,
Yep.
and then later on they did move to Mars Road of Lane Cove.
Yep.
You were born that time. You remember I used to take you in the car, rush here and there, and then back in 19. No, was you or Donnie?
It would have been like
No, it was Donnie.
Yeah, it would have been Donnie, not me.
Donnie.
Yeah.
Because that was, yeah. So then back in 1980, yeah, you just born after 84.
84. That's
Yeah.
right.
So, and the time someone said, oh, good to have a part. Oh, okay. Talk about racism.
Yep.
Yeah. Because being in a Japanese company,
Yep.
the top level is actually all from Japan. Okay. Middle management is Australian.
Yep.
So my immediate boss obviously is Aussie.
Yep.
And the person is quite helpful. He's quite nice to us. He just did mention that because of the work culture,
Yep.
no matter how hard you work, I can only move
To a certain level.
what they call horizontally.
Yeah.
I won't be able to career path.
Yep.
Be able to go up.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's how I decided to have something myself. So
Yep.
this is how I work full time there.
Yep.
Part time weekend type of thing, and then with the assistant of a Singaporean public accountant, tax agent at Cabramatta.
Yep.
Yeah, I sort of work under his guidance.
Yep.
And I have gone through. I used to set up a store,
Yep.
like in news agent or even in chemist
Yep.
at Cabramatta.
So like a kiosk type thing to do.
A little table kiosk. Cannot even say it's a kiosk.
Okay. It's beyond. Yeah. Okay. Yep.
I was thinking of that. It's not even a kiosk. A kiosk will be a luxury. Alright? It's just a fold-away table.
Yep.
And then that's how I managed to slowly build up something. Yeah, and that time
Sounds like a lot of driving, like
a lot of driving. Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of
because
driving.
that's what I remember growing up, right?
Now, one incident I just recall. Okay, I think that time Donnie was attending bank school, public primary school at St. Clair,
Yep.
and her mom having some job overtime or what. That one particular night, I have a appointment which is quite far. In fact, it's somewhere now South Sydney.
Yep.
And then at that time, because it's a group of people want to do this tax return, so that's how I managed to take the car and there and then.
Yep.
And Donnie, because you guys have a gap of 7 years.
7 years, yeah.
And then Donnie, I thought he can
Look after me.
look after you. So I remember the night when I was worried, and then on the way back, I actually been booked over speeding because I was rushing home.
Yep.
Yeah, without giving with proper signal when changing the lane. Okay. Upon arrival, I say, hey, you went missing?
Yep.
And Mom not back. Oh gosh, my heart sank. And then actually, you naughty. You didn't stay at home at that time. Donnie having a karate class or something.
Okay.
You went out to look for him. He's actually at Banks Drive
Yeah.
public school,
Yep.
and that was you went out to look for him, but you get lost.
What do you expect? I would have been
Yes,
like
that's correct. You only
3 or something.
Yes, and then he luckily you pick up by my by a client, by Indian Mr. Jaya.
Yeah.
He found you crying at the street. He thought of know you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he brought you home.
Okay.
That was lucky. And then I said, oh, this boy has been naughty. We cannot just. and
like
no,
three,
I know. Donnie, now we both work so hard. So I sometimes feel very sorry. And then Donnie's also was a latchkey kid. You know what's latchkey kid mean?
No.
Latchkey means.
I always like follows you guys. Listen.
No, latchkey means he's been morning we send him to school.
Yeah.
After school he has to come back himself.
Yeah.
All right. So this is called latchkey kid.
Well, I did that in high school, but
In high school, okay.
like for me, like when we were living in St Clair, so the memories that I have, well, obviously I still remember. I think this is probably my. Okay, there's a couple of memories that I have. The order's probably a bit jumbled, but
Yeah. Can you tell me?
I remember Donnie and I used to throw rotten plums at each other
Yes.
during summer, and we'd spray each other with the hose and throw rotten plums at each other.
Yes.
And then I remember there was a time when I was thirsty, so I wanted to drink from the hose.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and I put the hose in my mouth,
That's
and
great.
Donnie turned it on, but nothing came out because it's a really long hose.
Oh,
And then by the time, and so Donnie turned it up full blast, and by the time the water came out, I choked and passed out.
that's right. You guys play too rough, very rough.
Yeah,
Being
we-
boys, I think. Yeah.
And then, so one of the other memories I had was, Donnie and I used to fight a little bit, and Donnie sidekicked me, and I went through the glass window and landed in the cactus, my ass first into the cactus. So I remember
Yeah,
that.
that's right. Yeah, of course. The
Um,
incident he didn't report to me.
huh?
I wasn't aware of that one.
You don't remember that one? I'm sure Mum would remember that one. She had to pull the splinters out. And then I remember.
Okay.
I think we went to Parkley Markets, and this is when we got Breaker, our German Shepherd, the first dog.
Yeah,
Was it Parkley Markets? Oh, it's Parkley. I think I'm pretty sure it was Parkley Markets, or like one of the markets. And because what I remember was that,
Breaker, yeah.
yeah, and then
You went with mom's sister, actually, your auntie,
yeah, and then
niece.
and we saw, and I think at the time they were saying that it was like a Labrador or something like that.
Yes, yeah, that's correct.
And so we brought this black little puppy home, and I remember Breaker, he vomited in the car
Yeah.
on the ride home. I still remember that because I remember the smell. And this dog that was supposed to be a Labrador turned out to be a German Shepherd.
Yes, yes. No. You guys also don't know what breed this little puppy was. And just assure me, say it's going to be a Labrador.
Yeah,
I remember still black in color, but I look at the four limbs, the thighs.
yeah,
I say, no, it's very sturdy and strong.
yeah.
I say, it can't be a little puppy. So 7 months time, it grew up to be a full adult.
Yeah,
And it's
a German
German Shepherd. And yes, and it's a good dog. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a male dog. Yeah. So
and then so I can remember and he was a very smart dog because we had that patio, like the sunroom out the back,
yes,
and he used to he learnt how to open the door.
yeah,
He'd jump up and use his nose and click on the door and get himself
Yeah.
into the sunroom.
That's correct. That's correct. Yeah,
And
that's smart dog.
and then one time I think we might have been having like a party or something, or friends were coming over, and he stole one of the buns off the table and ran outside. So like they're the sorts of things that I remember. I remember that we had a carport on the side,
Yeah.
and I remember playing with a magnifying glass and trying to use the sun to burn ants with a magnifying glass. And I remember getting stung by a bee on my
Oh, yes,
big toe or something like that because I was playing outside, and then I must have stepped on the bee, and then the bee didn't like that obviously and stung me.
And there's a cat. Don't forget. I also got scabby or something.
The cat I don't remember. What's the cat?
The cat. There's a cat. Someone go and touch it, and then you all got some skin problem.
Yeah, great. It's probably me.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
So that Yeah, the dog. Yeah, unfortunately, that was. I remember that was actually we pick up that dog during the my centennial year, 1988. Yeah, bicentennial year.
Yeah.
When mom's sister, younger sister, and her niece were here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so during that year, they actually stay our place.
How long was that for? Because I
We
can.
did go out. We did go to Darwin
Yep.
or back to and fro in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Was that the time-
remember that was the
I can
time, and they stay at our place, and then
I remember we did some car trip and there was locusts in the air, and the
Yes,
car was
that's
like,
right.
is
That was,
that trip where the
that was
basically the
that's
whole car
actually
was, like,
we
smashed
yeah
with
yeah
locusts.
yeah
Yep.
we bought a new Corolla hatchback,
Yep.
and then because being no other relatives in this country, so that's how Christmas holiday time we always go
Go away. Yep.
go away, and that year we chose to go to Darwin. I wouldn't call it a holiday. In fact, I told a lot of people that's endurance test. we did 8,000 kilometer round trip.
Yep.
Okay, I still remember
Yeah. In a
was it-
hatchback.
hatchback. Yeah, and I still remember was a near miss accident near Catherine Gorge. One of the tire was punctured.
Okay.
Yeah, luckily get that fixed not far. We do have a spare tire.
Yep.
And I still recall going to a local Chinese restaurant. That was we arrived on Christmas Eve,
Yep.
and the lady boss asked, I say, how many of you? I said, no, we just family of 4, 2 boys. And then the lady boss don't believe, called the husband. And the husband first thing said to me, scold that you are crazy. You've done something. Oh my! He said this is actually very dangerous trip without any other assistance, and it's being a wet mom, wet seasons.
Yeah.
Right? And if you got stuck in the middle of the road, there's no way you can get help.
Yeah.
I still remember that time we buy you guys a bag of ice because you cannot turn on the aircon all the way. Sometimes you got to overheat it. So you still in the car seat at the back.
Yeah.
And
So
that's
I
right.
only
It's
remember
just
bits and
4
pieces.
years old.
Yeah.
Only four, just and then just hug the ice, bag of ice.
Yeah.
That's how.
Try and stay
Yeah,
calm.
and then
stay calm.
that yeah, it's true that this incident. I remember that trip. A certain thing happened. I think we go by Mount Isa Way. Mount Isa, that is. I still remember. We used to drive, and then sunset we find place to stay. And Mount Isa, I saw. Oh, all of a sudden it's because the mining town, the smelter or whatever. Upon arrival, when we slowly approaching, and then I found someone flashing a torchlight. I said, stop. I'm actually a bit scared. I put my leg still on the accelerator.
Yeah.
And then there's one guy approached us. Oh, look at that. He's a cop.
Yep.
He's doing his RBT,
Yep.
random breath testing.
Yep.
I said, hey, why didn't you turn on the light? The guy laughed. He said, no. He looked at us, his family, just waved, didn't do any RBT.
Yep.
He said, I cannot turn on the light. They run away.
Yeah. They know to get away.
Yeah, so this one incident.
Yep.
And the other incidents were under broad daylight. I saw a guy standing in the middle of the road with the rifle in his hand.
Yep.
Yeah. And then slowly I approach and look at us. He just said, oh, he's doing some hunting, birds, whatever. I don't know whether he's want to carry out his robbery or what.
Okay.
So then, that's sort of trip.
Well, yeah. That's.
You know?
See, I remember that.
No,
like,
he's too young. And
every
then,
year was like,
yeah,
you guys.
that's right. We've been to many places.
Yeah.
Townsville,
Every year we'd
Catherine
go somewhere.
Hall, Ace
but-
Rock. Yeah.
Like I remember, like that you guys were always at the office. So Like I know, so Donnie went to Banks Primary and then off to
Sorry.
that's right, off to high school. Went to James Roos and then
Yeah.
but for some reason you guys decided to send me to Crestwood Public School, which was like an hour's drive every day.
Oh yes.
So basically, we drove from St Clair. And you dropped me off at school, and then in the afternoon you'd pick me up, and then we'd be at the office at St Martin's Crescent.
Yes.
Or before that was the office in Blacktown.
Yeah,
So I remember there was the office at Blacktown.
Yeah, so that is how.
And so I remember
work very hard. Yeah, that's
yeah,
correct,
and
because,
so for you guys, it was you're always working, trying to provide for Donnie and I.
Yeah.
But it was, like there was a lot of times where it was like every day after school, it was like just at the office until I got into high school, and then eventually when I just come home myself, it would be like just waiting for you guys to come home for dinner would be like 9-10 at night.
Yeah, sorry. This is how
No need
I
to
very
apologize.
hectic.
Like I know that you guys
this guy
we're just working
gotta
to
work,
provide
gotta
for
make ends meet.
Yeah.
Put food on the table.
yeah.
So
What was
that's
the because when did you guys decide for us to move to, like, because I know that decision was always going to be there, because that was hence why you guys were sending me to a public school in a totally different area, right? That's why you enrolled me up here, was because you eventually wanted to move here.
That's correct. I think the time to get you here, because we got the land. We need to build on that.
Yep.
Right, while paying. So that's how save on the money, and then this is how.
And back then
Take
it
a
was
while.
different, right? Interest rates would have been like 17%,
Oh, very high. Yeah.
18%. So
we-
you never really built anything on the back of loans, not like today.
That's correct. No. We pay a lot of interest charges.
Yeah.
Okay, I think remember, Mom's was the one who decided to buy this land,
Mm-hmm.
and then we have to save money to get the building cost. So to be honest, that time I was working. I never seen the land when she bought.
Mm.
It's only up till say start building. Then that time, I didn't even have chance to come and have a look. And she said got 28 truckloads of dirt that they have to send away.
Yep.
I said I should be able to get some money, but they say, they just got to dump it some way.
Yep.
Yeah, so that is how that time, I think 93 will move here. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully that is you done. We just also, as we say, Donnie being a latchkey kid, and you have to you follow him, and then D-Day, that was his birthday. He's always teased by his schoolmates, I remember.
Yeah, and you got that big sign put
Big
up.
sign, yeah, this and that. And then you mix around quite a lot with his...
Yeah, well, this is the thing.
schoolmate.
So, like, for me growing up, I even though Donnie was always, and I think most siblings would have this sort of feeling, is that even if your sibling is older, and Donnie was 7 years older, I still always compared myself to him. So, not in any negative way, but it's just like, you see Donnie, I see Donnie study, then it's like, okay, well, and it's like, when you play games together, anything that Donnie could do, well, why couldn't I do it?
Yeah.
And it, like, not total disregard for that. There's an age disparity. It's just, well, if Donnie can do it, then I should be able to do it.
Yeah.
It's that. I think there's a very normal sort of sibling type of rivalry, like, and it was never really necessarily to compete with him or anything like that. It was just more like, that's just, because it's what you're surrounded by.
Yes.
So, if Donnie was looking after me and I was hanging out with him, and probably he would have viewed it the other way, that, he's my little annoying brother. I've got to look after him again, and he's 7 years younger, and like Donnie wants to go out with his friends, and meanwhile, I get to tag along and be this, younger annoying brother for him.
Yeah, but you guys seem to be being boys, compete with each other. I still okay. I'll have to think something, because that time I miss out one important incident is regarding your Chinese language.
Yeah.
Right? So when you both still, I used to take you,
Yep.
or sometime mom
Well, yeah, we did Chinese school.
to do this Chinese language because it's outside the school time, so it's always happen on at weekends.
Yep.
Have to drive you guys to Stanmore,
Yep.
quite a distance.
Yeah.
So, but then
I was funny enough.
it's during-
Angela and I, we went to Burwood yesterday for dinner,
Yes.
and I was actually just telling her that I still remember when you were sending me to that Chinese school in Stanmore, that one of the things that I did look forward to was when Mum would come pick me up, we'd go to Burwood and buy the food from the groceries and food from either the cake shops or
yes.
or the butcher.
Yeah.
So it was just funny because like Ange and I, we enjoy going to Burwood to buy
because
food
it's
and eat with the
actually
kids and things like that.
Eatery, it's a lot of eating place there.
Okay, well, I mean,
But
this
you
is
guys-
probably a bit of a different style of question, Dad. But how did you like when Donnie was born? What was the can you remember any of the emotion attached to that? Like, how did you feel when Donnie was born?
All right. Okay. Very good medical welfare system in New Zealand. Being at that time, I was working actually at the race course, always during weekends. Mom has a long labor that time, and she was admitted to National Women's Hospital, which is considered a public hospital in Auckland.
Yep.
I remember I took her early in the morning to the hospital. And then all day, nothing happened.
Waiting.
And being Queen's birthday,
Yep. So it's a public holiday.
public holiday, 6th of June. And all the medical staff virtually has left. And the only left me with Mom in the theater.
Okay.
And then seems to have some movement in the evening. And then I saw medical staff came in. And then they say, being such a long time in labor, they have decided to have by forceps. It's not cesarean.
Yep.
By forceps.
Yep.
And then they asked me whether I'm scared of blood or not. I said, no. I used to be a Red Cross member in Singapore.
Yep.
My detachment 11, very active detachment at that time.
Mm.
So I say, okay. They asked me to put on the dressing gown. Yes. And it was an unforgettable experience. They call
Forceps.
Forceps, yeah. It's actually a pair of big big thorns. I never seen such a big one, in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously, during the delivery process, I think Mom has lost quite a fair bit of blood.
Yep.
And then when they wrap Donnie up after cleaning him up, put him in my hands. I was nursing him.
Yep.
And then they came and get some blood sample. When they look at Donnie's foot,
Yep.
they say, this boy got very big foot.
Yep.
And then they say, he's going to be a soccer player anyway. So I remember the incident. Yeah.
It just made me think that I remember Donnie had the stinkiest feet.
Oh gosh, he's Donnie. And he's a big boy. So this come to... Because Mom did a lot of exercise, jumped the staircase, she actually wasn't expected to have Donnie, all right?
Yeah.
Anyway, one of God's gift.
Yep.
And that's how I come to... I was present during both your boys, what they call?
Birth.
Birth, because I heard incident like I have friends, some of them scared of blood.
Yep.
One guy actually did faint. pass out
Yeah.
at that critical moment, right?
Yeah.
But then this hospital in Auckland really take good care of mom, took care of mom and Donnie.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for me, I still remember the smell of the blood. I keep washing, stay with me for nearly 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And then,
and then
how did you feel like those few days? Obviously, the first few days, you there's a lot of I guess your body enters a fight or flight style feeling. There's everything's so exciting and fresh. Like
you have to, but they have to have mother craft nurse or whoever come. That's why I say the facility is very good. They come and teach you, guide you, and then obviously we did join some pre or postnatal courses.
yeah.
Yeah, so and then that's how be able to cope with.
Yeah, well,
Right,
everybody does those pre and postnatal courses,
Yeah,
but it
yeah.
doesn't really prepare you for exactly what you got to
Yes,
do. You
yes.
just got to do it. There's no real choice. Like it's happened. It's there.
And yeah,
I guess the reason why I ask is because I remember for both Cadence and Harley, I had two very different. Well, to me, I felt like they're very different experiences.
I see.
Obviously, and I was saying this to another. We're talking about it with Bo and another friend of mine who's come on this podcast, and he was saying how like for the first time, you don't really know what to expect. So you have your first child, and you don't really know exactly what it is to expect about, the process, what happens. For me, it was like, I was overwhelmed with emotion. And, it was funny because, like, I guess I would have thought, Angela would have been the emotional one. Yet, I think she was in that much pain that I probably had, all the tears and she was just like, ow, 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 ow. And, Cadence, when she came out, she was also a forceps birth.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So she was a forceps birth as well. So it's funny that you brought that up. But she didn't want to come out. Like she was just every time that Ange would push, you could see her tummy wiggling.
Oh,
because
okay.
Cadence would be like almost like wiggling back inside.
Okay.
And so we had to get the forceps to obviously
to adjust
get the head in the right position.
That's correct.
And get her out. But then when she came out, she was awake. Like her eyes were open. And I still remember catching her, and she was like looking at me, and it just sort of overwhelmed me with emotion.
Yeah.
And then for Harley, it's like we knew a bit more about what to expect, and we left Cadence with Angela's mum, and so she was just going to sleep for the night or whatever, and it was actually in the afternoon. So she was just with Angela's mum, and Harley came out pretty much naturally, and it was just a different type of emotion. Like I was still, I guess I didn't have the same sort of jitters in terms of not knowing what to expect. I sort of knew what to expect, and Harley came into the world a little bit differently. Like his eyes were sort of closed, and but came out and was just quite calm, really. And then like just two very different sort of experiences.
Okay, because I just recall when you were born, I think mom was scared when having Donnie. So second one, she said she doesn't want to exercise too much.
Yep.
So sort of on diet, not exercise much.
That's probably why Donnie's bigger than me.
Could be the reason. And yours is easy. All right. That time since the experience with the hard labor was first one. So while your mom was pregnant with you, and then decided to have a specialist, Dr. Kwa Kim Bu from Singapore.
Yep.
Yeah, he's sort of a very nice person. So yours is easy. I think was in the evening. Yeah, he was born at Westmead Hospital. Yeah.
So,
obviously.
oh, actually, you just made me think of something. How did you decide on Donnie and my Chinese names?
Okay. Want you boys to be bright, and then Donnie was actually born consider. I said water break at dawn, so that's how decided to call Donnie.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then?
and your name, that's right, and it's probably easy begin in the Western country, just call Donnie and Johnny, and then the Chinese name, this name chosen by mom.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because
so
Mum wanted me to be a girl.
your name is called in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, Donnie's name also, some Chinese girls also named after Donnie's Chinese name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because
So
what I
like,
remember is that,
yours
when
is,
I was at Chinese
Ying-
school and
Ying.
they'd call the roll, the teacher would say my name. And then
Sure.
when I'd say that I'm here, they'd sort of look at me like,
Oh, it's Dr.
Oh, Miguel.
Yeah, Ying,
Yeah.
Y-I-N-G. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then, but that stands for, literally is very bright and smart. Yeah, bright and smart.
okay.
Yeah, and Donnie, because being dawn is also bright in the sense, yeah,
Yeah.
the radiance,
Yeah.
radiance, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think important. Unfortunately, it's hard written Chinese words. Okay, right? Very hard for you guys to write. Okay, so that's why I still remember some English educated guy in New Zealand,
Yeah.
especially one guy called Wong, surname Wong, Huang,
Yep.
and in Penang they call Wei, O-I.
That's like,
It's actually Wong,
Yeah.
and the writing is yellow color Huang, but the guy don't know how to write,
yep.
so he just draw a big square with the two legs, and he said this is television. And then
Okay.
with the two antenna.
Yeah.
That's how he remember how to write his surname Wong.
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, but our surname actually can be
Abbreviated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Same like my original Chinese name.
Yep.
In traditional Chinese character is very complicated.
Yep.
Right? But my three words can be simplified.
So what's your traditional Chinese name?
Is Chinese surname Ye, and Jie, 清洁节, then 艺术的艺, Ye, Jie, Yi. That's how you
Jie, Yi,
pronounce. And then this is how they pronounce. All can be simplified. All right. Then, as I say, I probably haven't changed much. I has mentioned one incident. I have what they call recognized by a schoolmate. He left at primary 4. There was one incident at Darling Harbour quite some time ago,
Yep.
nearly 20 years now.
Yep.
I was attending one exhibition at Darling Harbour and in front of a SBS radio
Yep.
store. And then I saw this guy turn around and look at me. He yelled out my Chinese name.
Yeah.
I got shocked, totally shocked. I said, who are you? Oh, he said, my name is Chen, Win Chen. I said, oh, how do you know me? He said, oh, when you are at school, you're always punished by the, asked by the teacher to stand outside the classroom.
Yep.
So I know that.
Yep.
In school, it's either you are very top or
Yeah.
you are naughty one,
Yep.
and then people can remember you.
Yeah, that's very true
Yuan.
because when Ange and I we went to the same school and then she was in the grade below me, but when we went back to film some of the things for our wedding, we saw one of the teachers there. It was the Japanese teacher, Miss Ogara, and it was funny because she remembered me straight away, and she was like, "Oh, Johnny, I remember you." And then Angela was like, "Oh, do you remember me, Miss?" And then she was like, "Hmm." So she wasn't remembered because she was the studious one, and I was probably classified more on the naughty side. So
Yes, yes.
and she
yes,
said, you always you remember the naughty ones because some teachers they have a soft spot for them. So
was another interesting incident that was at Auckland.
yeah,
During summer vacation, after work, I was just at one woolly store buying vegetables. Then I saw 3 Asian men. One start to approach me
yeah,
and say, "Excuse me, you from Singapore?" I said, "Yes." "You from this Chung Han Street?" I got shocked. I said, "Who's this guy? How come he can name the street I came from?"
yeah,
He said, "Oh, you remember me? I'm a coffee shop assistant." Ati. You that time you're young, but your feature hasn't changed. That's why I remember you. Yeah. So that's how I said, "Oh, what are you doing here?"
yeah,
He said, "I'm actually as a second chef
yep,
on board of this Red Star shipping line."
yep,
And he introduced 2 guys. One is his working colleague,
Yep.
and the other elder person is called Bosun.
yep,
Bosun is the head of the seaman crew.
yep,
Okay, so I said, he asked me, "What are you doing here?" I said, "Oh, I'm a student." Okay, he said, "Oh yeah, near Christmas time. What are you doing?" I said, "Oh, I'm supposed to work."
yep,
But he said, "No, don't work that day. Christmas Eve, come to on board our ship,
yep,
which happened to be still at berth in the harbor,
yep,
and then I cook you nice Chinese food, a Singaporean style." Yeah. So I say, "Okay, I'll come." At the time when I attended this Ati, the coffee shop assistant, was actually busy in the kitchen. He said, "I let this Bosun that I met him the other day will look after you." So he brought me into a big room,
Yep.
a big dining table, sitting with all the seaman crew. I think about 30 plus them.
yep,
Then at the head of the table, I was sat next to the bosun.
yep,
And then these dialects, this is my first time encountered mainly 6 different what they call Chinese dialects people. You got Hokkien, you got Teochew, you got Cantonese, you got Hakka, Fuzhou, and Hainanese.
yep,
I must admit that time I can master Hokkien, Teochew, Cantonese quite well.
Yep.
But Fuzhou, Hakka, and Hainan, entirely different
Yeah.
type of foreign language dialect to me.
yep,
So then when they throw me questions, Bosun is the only one
who can translate
who
everything.
can translate.
Yep.
Yeah. Even I have a good friend called Captain Billy Lee.
Yep,
And funny time, he also came to New Zealand while I was doing his master ticket course. I was doing my study day. Yeah, so this captain can't even speak so many dialects.
no, it's
Yeah,
so
this
difficult.
is gifted. Yes, it's all entirely. But I am glad I have that opportunity. I don't think
Yep.
anyone has got such an incident. Yeah, so. All right, I think I've touched on quite a fair bit.
Yep.
Life is thinking, giving me this opportunity to have a chat. In fact, recently I sat down because I'm just still busy. I haven't got much time to put something on the Facebook. I also.
Don't worry about
Don't-
Facebook, Dad.
yeah,
I don't even
that's-
use it.
That's correct. And then the other day, in fact, a client of mine happened to be, he just came back from his 25th wedding anniversary. They spent 4 nights at the Marina Sands Hotel.
Yep.
Surname is Mr. David Wang. He sort of have a good chat with me. He's like to always like to chat with me about my past.
Yep.
In fact, it was keep asking me, say I should put some interesting thing into spoken thing. He say if in case if got no time to write, try to find some recording machine.
Yep.
Think of some incident.
Yep.
All right. So and happened to be, I say, all right. Happened. I did mention this opportunity, and then I say, okay, I'll chat a bit more.
That's why I you know, part of the reason why I started doing this thing. You know, I get there's a couple of reasons, but you know, I was just telling Mum. Mum asked me, you know, she came and she saw, you know, all this gear, and she said, what have you got all this for? And then I said, well, there's a few reasons, but you know, one is obviously that, you know, I look at the kids and then it makes me think, you know, about, you know, how much of what of what they do and who they are has been determined by genetics.
Yeah.
And then, you know, what part is their environment. So, you know, when I start to think about things like that, then it makes me wonder, you know, like, how did you know, by me knowing more about you and Mum, that might also fill in some of the understanding for me about how I turned out the way that I have. Yeah. And then on the flip side, you know, I had one of my good high school friends committed suicide earlier this year.
Oh, sorry. This is
And
because I think mental problem communication still the key part, right? And being persistent. Unfortunately, this what they call mental
illness.
problem, illness it's increasing. All right, so I think.
But it's also, you know, like it's the stigma. People think that, you know, just because you can't see it, that, you know, perhaps it doesn't exist. But, you know, I think, you know, there's plenty of cases where it does exist, and you know, we always apportion it to other reasons, but you know, part of it was like in sort of honouring him. It's about just having conversations, and that so that, you know, when you move on, to me, I guess my sort of view on it is that you haven't really you're not dead until you're forgotten.
Yes.
So for me, not knowing enough about our family history,
Yes.
That if something was to happen to you before we ever got to have this conversation, then grandma and grandfather, they that sort of knowledge would be gone. They'd be lost.
Yes.
You know, their story would be gone. And that was the part that made me think about it in terms of my kids, that I want there to be something there for them so that one day, you know, if they come to the same realization as me, you know, and it took me 35 years to get here, and, you know, before that, you know, you've tried to tell me plenty of stories and it's always been like, yeah, okay, whatever, Dad, you know. But the day that I decided that it finally meant something to me, you know, I can't go backwards from that. I can't go and say now I want to turn off that part of me and not care about it, because now that I care.
Yes. Okay, that's good.
So,
I think it's still important. Suicide, obviously, you just still leave the problem with the rest of the family members and the friends or whoever, right?
of course,
And just throwing this punchline, I don't know whether it's true or false. In Singapore, suicide is an offense.
is it?
Yes. Right. So, I mean, to cross-check with some friends, yeah, it's true. All right. So, I mean, life is a journey. It's up and down, you know. So,
it's not. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Like, there's always. So, in saying that, right? Like, there's people that you can learn from.
Yeah.
And then there's also people that you can learn what not to do.
Yes.
From, right.
Yes, yeah.
So, you know, what I mean when I say that is that no matter what happens in life, whether it's good or bad, there's always the story that you tell yourself of what it is.
Yes.
And then there's the action that you take as a result of it.
Yeah.
Right. And I think the way that I got explained this concept in a professional environment, I can't remember who presented it, but basically it's sort of like the see, do, and get paradigm, where how you view something or how you see something will determine your actions in terms of what you do.
That's correct.
And then what you do will determine what you get, right? So if something negative, happens to you, you can choose to try and dull your senses and drink or do something like that. That's what I guess would be classified as negative,
Yes.
as a coping mechanism. But then where does that take you after? It doesn't really take you forward. You haven't really dealt with the problem. All you've done is you sort of shifted the problem aside, right? So ultimately, I guess from what I've learnt so far is that in life is that it's always about if you know that you're going to have to do it eventually, you're going to have to face up to it eventually. Yep. You might as well just get it over and done with.
That's correct. So it's always, there's a Chinese proverb always say like this, 逃得过初一，躲不过15 means if whatever want to happen, it will happen.
Yeah.
Okay. So we just need to be constructive, positive, right, in the way of handling the situation, right? Problem solving and never give up. Persistence is the only way.
Yeah,
right?
You have to support each other.
Yeah, that's correct. And then I just recall, in actual fact, upon arrival at overseas, my first trip back after arriving in New Zealand and Australia is 8 years after my first arrival overseas. 8 years, not a short term.
Yep.
Yeah, but I have to decide that if I'm not successful in certain thing, I don't want to lose faith to the relative, especially the uncle who has said, don't come back, you are not succeed.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think we all just have to look at the positive side. Lives move on, the show must go on.
Yeah. Well, I think that's when you're younger, that's always your motivation.
Yeah.
Like when you're younger, generally your motivation is you're not really doing things because you want to do it. You're doing it because you're afraid of the outcome. You're afraid of letting people down. You're afraid of embarrassing yourself. And then part of life experience is when you get to a point that you forget about what everybody else thinks and you do things for yourself, right? So it's, like you get at the beginning, it's like your motivators are always external, that you want to look good at doing this or you want to be successful for this reason or that reason. Whereas like sorry, let me rephrase. Everything is always very outcome oriented.
Yes.
Right? At a younger age, or when you're not even at a younger age, because I'm sure there are mature guys out there who have probably come to this realization before other people, some people may never get to this realization, and everything for them is always outcome based. So you're doing everything based on what is the outcome that you seek, as opposed to just enjoying the journey, doing what makes you feel what you enjoy and reaping the benefits of that outcome, right? Yeah. So, like I can say that from a professional perspective. Like for the longest time, I was doing many things that were just based on what would get me the best outcome.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then I came to a point where, and just in my my last place that I was working, was that I switched the paradigm a little bit and instead focused on what did I enjoy. And in terms of my industry, in the automotive industry, I enjoy having happy customers. And how do you create happy customers? Well, yes, price is one concern, but it's not the main concern. The main concern is actually the experience, that the customers feel that their input is listened to, that there's value, right? Because the value equation is not wholly and solely built on price. It's built on
intangible things.
Yeah, intangible things, right? Developing those relationships. So, part of my focus in doing these conversations is to focus on those intangibles. Like I'm really, happy that we've done it, because, if I never got to have the opportunity to do something like this, then it'd always be an unknown.
Yeah, that's right.
And then like I'm like, you've got these old photos in front of me, and I'm looking at them, and then, in as much as I hate to admit it, in some of these younger photos of you, I can see some of me.
Yeah, I still.
and in this photo of Donnie crying as a baby, I can definitely see my kids.
That's correct.
Um,
And
so it's just, it's one of those things where
yeah,
it's
yeah, it seems you see it's in the gene. I think it's just history could be a reproduction of the past. All right, so you can see that.
it's
You
meant
can
to be
see, look.
it's meant to be an evolution, Dad. So I'd like to say I'm the better version of you.
Yeah, well, look at me. I'm so handsome.
Yeah, okay,
Right,
okay, that's,
okay.
yeah, all right, yeah,
You gotta admit, and especially come to my mom.
yeah,
I always say, your dad is more handsome than me. You know?
yeah, yeah.
It's
So,
always
so
grandma
used to
always say,
Yeah.
your grandpa is always better looking than me.
Yeah.
Right? And then, actually, when I look at my dad's photo,
Yeah.
he used to have one, and he looks like one Go Chok Tong, past PM. Mm-hmm. Right? Everyone look at that. Hey, your dad look like Go Chok Tong.
I think I've seen that photo.
Yeah,
you
you've
talk
seen that
about,
photo.
right? And for me, like the way I would describe it, I thought he looked like an Asian Marlon Brando. But I think that was the style. Like, back then, the style was that kind of a style.
That's right.
So,
Okay,
all right, we'll,
all right.
we'll
we
leave
have
it
to
there,
wrap
but,
up here, and then
Dad,
that's good. At least
I want to say
Yep.
thank you for
Okay,
the last 35
having
years of
this,
my life.
opportunity, and it's just like good old days. I still recall one time Donnie was crying, and then we took him wrap him up. That was in Auckland.
Yep.
Wrap him up and then put in the car. I have a Morris 1100. I took him for a car ride. He just settled down.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. So okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks
you.
everyone for listening, and
Yeah.
we'll
All right.
see you next time.
Okay. Thank you.